Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio in Atlanta, Georgia. It's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by Kennesaw State University's Executive MBA program, the accelerated degree program for working professionals looking to advance their career and enhance their leadership skills. And now, here's your host,
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, KSU's Executive MBA program. Without them, we couldn't be sharing these important stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Thomas Carroll with HB Wealth Management. Welcome.
Lee, thanks for having me. Excited to be on Atlanta Business Radio with you today.
Well, I'm excited to learn what you're up to. Tell us about your firm. How you serving folks?
Yeah, happy to do it. HB Wealth Management, also known as Homrich Berg. We've been in business for 35 years. Celebrated our 35th anniversary in October. We had a great month of celebration. We are a fee-only independent wealth management firm that was founded by Andy Berg and David Homrich 35 years ago, and we're still serving clients in a comprehensive way 35 years later, like we did when we started the firm. So we're an $18.5 billion asset under management RIA with around 4,000 clients and families that we serve every day.
Now, can you educate the listener what it means to be fee only?
Yeah, happy to. There are different ways that investors can access wealth management services, and ours is a fee-only way, which means that the only fees that a client would pay our firm would be to provide them advice. It's an advice fee. That advice comes in different forms. It can be investment advice, it could be planning advice, estate planning, and insurance planning, just all sorts of comprehensive services. But we do not make any commissions. There's no trailer revenue. We're not selling a product in any way, shape, or form. We are simply just getting paid to provide good, sound advice to the clients that we serve.
Now, does that mean that that I have to do the trade, or I have to act on your recommendation, or is that something that you also handle?
Yeah, great question. No, we are a full service firm. So we are able to execute, do the trading, through the custodians that we work with, and have discretion in ultimately executing on the advice that we ultimately recommend to our clients.
Now, does that mean I talk to you once a year and you kind of rebalance? Are you talking to me quarterly? Can I call you whenever, my brother-in-law has a great idea? Like how does that interaction and service work?
Yeah, it's all of the above, and it really just depends on the client preference. I mean, there are some clients that that call us when they get the investment idea at the country club and want us to look at it, and we do that a lot. There's some folks that are happy to meet once a year. There are some folks that we talk to probably once a month. And so it's just the client preference is ultimately what drives the cadence of the communication, and then our advisors ultimately will execute whatever makes the client comfortable. So it's really up to the client.
Now, what would be kind of your recommendation for somebody who maybe has worked at a corporate job and hasn't had a formal relationship with a wealth advisor before, and they've just been, dumping money into maybe a 401k or something along those lines as kind of autopilot, and now they're getting close to retirement, and then they got to, make more decisions because they're about to go through a transition. Can you explain to our listener, what does that conversation look like when you're talking to somebody who comes from that background?
Yeah, look, I think just generally part of the question is, should a person of that profile be seeking professional advice around their financial lives? And the answer to me is absolutely yes. The financial world is very complicated. Investments integrates with taxes, which integrates with how a person of that profile might set up their estate plan, and there are lots of different pieces, how the insurance piece works in a good plan. How do you appropriately budget your cash flow? How do you prepare for children's educational expenses? All of these are pieces to a large puzzle, and it's challenging for someone who's not focused on doing it every day to understand how all that intersects. And that's where a financial advisor comes in, not just to advise on investment assets, but also to integrate all those other things that I just mentioned into a comprehensive plan. For me, it's I've heard the analogy used from time to time. It's like a doctor. We are a doctor for financial advice. You wouldn't go, kind of try to diagnose your own health issues. You're going to go to a medical professional who's going to help you with a medical issue. It's the same thing in the financial world. So I certainly encourage folks with that profile that you just mentioned to seek out a professional advisor to help them achieve their financial goals.
Now, you mentioned kind of comparing it to a doctor, but in some cases, I have a cardiologist, I have a rheumatologist, a pulmonologist, and then I have kind of a general practice person. Are you kind of the quarterback? Are you my general practice, or are you just kind of a specialist in one kind of leg of the stool?
Yeah, we are the general practitioner. The lead advisor that serves our family serves as that general practitioner, but we have subject matter experts on staff on our team who would focus on the specific discipline that's needed. So if you needed a cardiologist, in our nomenclature, if you needed someone to help you with an estate plan, we have an estate planning specialist on our team who would go do the deep dive into estate planning. So we do have those subject matter experts in our firm that support the work that the lead advisor does as the general practitioner, so to speak.
Now, what about the CPA? Do you have a CPA on your team, or do you partner with CPAs?
Yeah, we do. So entering a little history of our firm, we were started by two ex-CPAs. So the tax work, the tax planning is a foundational part of our business, always has been and always will be. What we are not, just to be clear, is we are not a firm that files tax returns. So we work very closely with CPAs on behalf of our clients to have those CPAs ultimately do the tax filings that are required. But we take a pretty active role in getting that CPA prepared to file that return. So we do a good bit of tax planning. It's a core part of our service offering.
So it doesn't matter really the CPA. You're kind of CPA agnostic from that standpoint, but it's important for the client to permission you to talk to each other so you can get on the same page.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. In fact, we have a tech platform that really enables the partnership with the CPA community that allows us to kind of share information seamlessly through a tech experience. And so we are able to kind of provision rights for CPAs to go in and download data and things that they need to effectively complete the tax returns.
Now, are you seeing any kind of trends in the wealth management industry regarding kind of this robo-investing and the young people? There's so many young people, it seems, that are really attracted to just kind of going online on their phone and then doing some type of investing. And if you see that trend, how does that impact the services you provide? Is that just something that young people you think will just outgrow and then move to more traditional relationship with wealth management, or is this something to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I think it's something to keep an eye on. I do think that as these younger investors that you're describing go through life stages, accumulate more wealth, get married, start having kids, life gets more complicated, and financial decisions have larger ramifications. And so I think that you will see folks, I think, gravitate to more professional advice over time. However, one thing that I don't think is going to change with, a kind of trend to keep an eye on is the way that those clients want to consume their experience, right? So their parents may prefer to come into the office and, put on the sports coat and, come in and meet in person. The clients, as you just described, they're going to want to interact digitally with their advisor, and they may still want to come in and break bread and come into the office and do all that stuff. But advisors need to have a robust digital experience that allows for those clients to be able to see their data and see their portfolios at the tip of their fingers. And so we certainly are working on that to make sure that as this next gen of comes into more wealth, as there's a tremendous amount of wealth that's going to be transitioned to younger generations, that we can meet them where they want to be met, and that's through digital enablement.
Now, do you see any kind of unintended consequences to this new? I don't know. It's new to me, but it seems like everywhere I turn, there's ads for gambling, online gambling, and sports betting and things like that. Is that something that is impacting the way people trade or see trading stocks or investing in the markets? Or is there any kind of maybe false equivalence when it comes to people seeing themselves gambling and betting and, investing in the markets? Yeah,
look, certainly there could be some unintended consequences there, through the democratization of gambling and the availability of it. But that could equate to maybe trying to market time and, buying and selling stocks and all that stuff. That is not a long-term sustainable and successful strategy. So we preach very much to our clients and prospective clients that the most important point that is to have a plan and to stick to it, and we will rebalance as opportunities present themselves, but we don't position ourselves as market timers. And in fact, there's a lot of research that shows that that's very, very difficult to be successful over time with a market timing strategy. And time invested in the market is much more important than trying to time the market. And that's a really key part of a relationship that we have with our clients.
Now, how do you work with your clients when it comes to the deaccumulation? They spend decades and decades accumulating and being disciplined, and they learned about the importance of compounding, and all this stuff is happening. And now it's time to start taking money out. And for some people, that psychologically is very difficult. How do you help them with that?
Yeah, look, we are an advisor for all stages of life. From the accumulation phase through the decumulation phase or the spending phase. So we play a very important role in advising clients, how and when to start taking required minimum distributions, off of their IRAs or 401ks. We certainly help clients thinking about transitioning money to their children or their grandchildren, funding, grandchildren's education, whatever it may be. That is certainly using the assets that they accumulated. And those decisions, all of those decisions have important tax implications. So we're very much advising, clients through that process, but making sure that we're being mindful of the tax dollars that are being spent through that process as well. But very important part of the relationship that we play in the families that we serve.
Are you seeing any trends when it comes to maybe giving more money to their children and grandchildren sooner than maybe historically back in the day they would wait till they passed and then their transfer would occur?
Yes, that is definitely something we're seeing more and more of. And what I like the way I describe it is I think that the givers of the wealth, so that the wealth creators or generators, want their heirs to be informed and more so than maybe a generation ago. So we are spending, more and more time educating the next generation of wealth, or the wealth inheritors, about what it means to come into that wealth, what it means to be a good steward of that wealth, what the family goals are in what they want to accomplish with that wealth. So more and more families of wealth are setting up, charitable organizations or a donor advised fund, and they're getting their kids involved in that, so that they can, be more informed when ultimately that money, comes to them down the line. So a lot more education that we're doing, and spending time with younger generations, educating them about all things around money and wealth.
Now, do you have a feel for what's causing this shift? Like a generation ago, it was just very normal to just, when I died, that's when my kids get the money, and we didn't think twice about it. But now, like you were saying, that it seems like some of the transfers are happening sooner, so you can see the joy and you can see how they're using the money rather than wait till after you're gone. Is there something that happened that's causing this, or is this just there's so much wealth now out there that they can afford to do this?
Look, I think that there's this phenomenon that wealthy families are more aware of now than maybe in the past, and that's this phenomenon called shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, which ultimately means that there's a generation that creates the money, and then there's a generation that basically spends the money, and then the third generation is back to not having any money. And so I think that trend and knowledge of that is an outcome largely of people just being given money and not being prepared to know what to do with it. So more families, and frankly more advisors like our firm, are taking a role in making sure that the shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations phenomenon doesn't happen. And when you have informed heirs, they're more likely to have a successful outcome in the wealth that is bestowed upon them. Also, just candidly, it creates opportunities for life experiences with family members. Being able to share in a charitable, donation, or go to a charity event as a family. It allows for a happiness factor to occur, Lee, that you mentioned, and I think families are enjoying that opportunity, now more so than ever.
Now, if somebody wants to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or somebody on your team, what is the best way to do that? Yeah,
that's great. Happy to visit our website, homrichberg.com. There is all of our contact information is on the website, in the Contact Us section of the website. Our phone number's there. You can call and get connected to an advisor on our team, or you can email us through the website, homrichberg.com, and we'd be happy to talk to anybody out there, any of your listeners that are thinking about seeking a financial advisor.
And that's HOMRICHBERG.com.
That is correct.
Well, Thomas, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate you having me today. I've enjoyed the conversation.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio.